Hi folks, John Mark here with Catalyst Connect, continuing our walk through Zoho 1 here and a best practice setup of a few of the core Zoho apps. So this particular video, we're going to be focusing on some of the account management aspects within Zoho CRM, as well as the deal pipeline and going through creating deals, quotes, proposals, mail merge templates, electronic signatures, and closing out the sales cycle. So a couple of things I wanted to point out here. We're going to dive into our Global Services Inc. Account because this is a little bit more fleshed out with some nice images here, whether it be logos. We can see that we're working with multiple points of contact, and we can attach profile images to those points of contact. This is pretty typical if you are working in a B2B organization. You're going to be dealing with a lot of different people, departments, potentially organizations that have multiple tiers. So in this particular example, we have Global Services Inc., and we can see that they are a parent organization to our National Services Inc. So Zoho CRM supports this parent-child relationship, as well as designating which contacts work for which departments and their roles for particular business opportunities. So rolling back up here to our Global Services Inc., we can go into this universal search, and I'm just going to pull up our Global Services. Here we have it. We can then dive into a MSA engagement that we have going on with them. And this particular deal we can see is actually in progress. The contract's been signed. What I wanted to point out here is that we have that similar blueprint functionality that I demonstrated in the lead module, where we can actually hold a deal for approval before it can get pushed through. So jumping a step back here, let's go and take a look at a deal that's earlier on in the stages so that we can walk through the steps over here, creating our proposals, and then we'll enter into that blueprint that I just showed you before kicking this off into operations. So we have a new deal. This business opportunity here could be for an initial scope of work. Now that we have the MSA in place, typically for a professional services organization, we work with proposals, not necessarily quotes. So Zoho has the ability to generate quotes directly out of Zoho Books. If you're an organization that can provide a simple quote with line item details, quantities, and prices, Zoho Books is fantastic for that, and we'll go over that in a separate Finance Suite video. If, however, you are a professional services organization that needs to generate a proposal or a contract, you can do that using some tools that we deploy as part of our best practice setups for professional service organizations. This is a little bit of a customization to Zoho's out-of-the-box features, but we're really leveraging a lot of the standard tools that the CRM provides. So as I mentioned, a deal is your module where you are capturing your business opportunities with a customer. We can summarize their area of interest, the amount, the expected closing date. So let's put in some values over here. We'll try to close this by the end of the month. I really advocate for having a next step so that we can keep things moving forward. And as you'll see here, we're going to put in a description of the work that we're going to be doing with them and any internal comments that we want to have. This is going to be important because I'll show you how we can actually reflect this proposal on the front end for a customer through the client portal. So when it comes to integrating your products and services into a proposal, what we build is a subform within the deal that you can actually designate exactly what products or services we are going to pitch here. Those products and services can either be added in line item by line item, so we can individually choose our specific products over here, And the system, as long as you have filled out the details on the product record or the service record, it will put out the description, the quantity, and the price in this table. Similarly, you can actually skip a step if you already have pre-packaged services. You can go ahead and select the package over here, and the system will automatically populate that table based on the products that are part of that package. That's a nice shortcut to quickly build accurate proposals. Now, if you want to actually send out a proposal, there are a few different options to do that within Zoho CRM. You can use Zoho's standard mail merge functionality, and we'll go ahead and click on these three dots over here, and you can select mail merge. Now, you can see here I just have a very basic template. It's a service agreement, so we don't have any bells and whistles in terms of design, but we can select that template, and then using Zoho Writer, the CRM will actually merge in details from that deal record into a service agreement or proposal. What's handy about this is we can actually integrate that full table of products and services into this agreement. So if I go ahead here and run this merge, based on the template, it's going to fill out the various tokenized elements like the date, the company name, and then the table here of the services that they selected. So here we are running this merge. Make sure that you don't have a pop-up blocker on, and that's going to open it up in a new tab. Let's run this again. Okay, so now that we have pop-up blocker off, it opened up the new tab now with this merge document, so we can see the service agreement. It pulled in some of our product options that we had in that table, and at this point we have a couple of different options. We can go ahead and simply save this document as a PDF and attach it to that record. We also have the option of sending it for electronic signature. So if you want to actually send it through Zoho Sign for electronic signature, you can actually do so by clicking on here. And as long as you have the Zoho Sign integrated, you can push this through to a sign template, and then it will tokenize certain signature fields that you can then send through to the customer for signature. So if I had set this template up, it would have pre-populated that contact there, and we can send it through for Zoho Sign. I'm going to do a separate video on Zoho Sign because there are a couple of great use cases and streamlined features for getting customers to accept and sign docs. So please check back in the video series for that detailed overview of Zoho Sign. For this use case, we're going to just keep it pretty simple and straightforward here. We've downloaded the PDF. We're going to go ahead and attach it over here to that record. We can then actually email it directly to this point of contact through the CRM. So if we click directly on Roy here, we can send an email, and we can go ahead and attach that proposal and send it out. Sending emails through here is great because we get to actually see whether that user has received that email or not. So once emails go out, if we scroll down here in the related list, we can see that we have sent an email to Roy. We can see that the status is sent. Once he actually opens it, it will change to opened. So it's a great way to confirm receipt and to track that back and forth that you may have. Again, we have similar features in Zoho Sign, and we'll dive into those details in that specific video covering that process. One thing that I'd like to touch on here is when it comes to customer engagement, we have a customer portal that these clients can log into to actually view proposals, accept proposals online, and manage your full engagement with them. So for those of you who would like to leverage a client portal in your customer engagement, be sure to check in on the next video where I will show you how a user can actually view those proposals and accept them or comment on them to move things along. Assuming a typical use case where you have sent through the proposal, customer wants to agree, we'll go through now and assume that the contract has been signed. And this is where we have a blueprint that enters into a deal approval process. So this deal approval process is optional for those organizations who want to hold a deal for review before it's pushed through to operations. I think it's a good idea. We can go through and approve this deal, but pop up a checklist so we can make sure that certain things are complete before it gets handed off to operations. If you get partway through, it'll keep track of your progress over here, and we can have service level agreements in the system that can escalate this if the team doesn't approve a deal in a certain amount of time. Now, there are a few things here that we've built into our best practice for professional service organizations, and that is the ability to automatically kick off projects in Zoho Projects when a deal is completed. So you notice that we had populated this products and services table on the deal, and like I mentioned, the system automatically populated the description and the quantities from that package in over here. We can also, as part of our setup, associate a particular product or service with a project template in Zoho Projects. And as we go through and actually complete this approval and close and win this deal, the system will automatically kick off projects in Zoho Projects. So that can keep things moving along efficiently. So we'll go ahead and close out this deal over here. It'll allow us to mark it as closed won. And this trigger over here is now going to, again, kick off the operation side of things and the projects based on the templates associated with each of those services. So we'll head into that in the next video. Be sure to check in to see how we transition a customer from the sales department to operations, kicking off using Zoho Projects, and then also diving into billing as we look to create deposit invoices and retainers for this customer. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next video. Cheers.